Hi everyone, this is Moses speaking. In this video, I have prepared a website for this assignment. In this assignment, I'm gonna speak about Tuesday with Maury, a comprehensive literary analysis by Mitch Albom. Before we start into our analysis, I have prepared a book overview, which include publication details, award and recognition throughout the years, and the plot summary. Okay, let's read the plot summary. Tuesday with Maury is a deeply moving memoir that chronicles the final months of Maury Schwartz's life through his weekly conversations with his former student, Mitch Albom. The narrative begins when Albom, a successful but spiritually empty sports journalist, discovers that his beloved college sociology professor is dying from ALS. This discovery prompts Albom to reconnect with Maury, leading to a series of 14 Tuesday meetings that would profoundly change both their lives. Each Tuesday sections becomes a classroom where Mori imparts his final lessons about life, death, love, work, community, family, aging, forgiveness, and meaningful living. As Mori's physical condition deteriorates, his wisdom and spirit shine brighter, offering profound insights into what truly matters in human existence. The book serves as both a tribute to an extraordinary teacher and a guide for readers seeking deeper meaning in their own lives. The memoir is structured around these weekly visits, with chapter focusing on a specific life lessons or theme. Through intimate conversations, flashbacks to their college days, and observations of Maury's declining health, album creates a powerful narrative that explores the universal themes of mortality, love, and search for the meaning in modern life. And the central message of the novel. At its core, Tuesday with Maury challenges readers to examine their priorities and values. Maury's teachings emphasize that true fulfillment comes not from material success or social status, but from meaningful relationships, personal growth, and service to others. The book advocates for a life lived with intention, compassion, and authenticity, urging readers to reject society's superficial values in favor of deeper, more lasting sources of happiness and meaning. Okay, so let's go through our major themes. For our major theme, it includes death and mortality, love and relationships, the critique of modern society, teacher-student relationship, forgiveness and redemption. For each themes, I will only read the first paragraph, which is the summary of the theme. The theme of the death permeates the entire narrative, not as something to be feared, but as a natural part of life that gives meaning to our existence. Maury's approach to his own dying process serves as a masterclass in accepting mortality with grace and dignity. He teaches that once you learn how to die, you learn how to live, suggesting that awareness of death's inevitability should inspire us to live more fully and authentically. Love and relationships. Maury consistently emphasized that love is the essence of human experience, an antidote to love's suffering. He argues that love is the only rational act, and that meaningful relationships are the true measure of a life well lived. This theme is explored through various relationships in the book. The teacher-student bond between Maury and Mitch, Maury's marriage to Charlotte, his relationship with children, and his connections with caregivers and friends. Critique of modern society. Album uses Maury's wisdom to critique contemporary American cultures, emphasize on material success, competition, and individualism. Maury argues that society promotes values that ultimately leave people feeling empty and disconnected. He challenges the notions that more money, possessions, or status will lead to happiness, instead advocating for a culture based on human connection, compassion, and serving to others. Teacher-student relationships. The relationship between Maury and Mitch serves as the book's central metaphor for how wisdom is transmitted across generations. Their connection transcends the traditional classroom setting, demonstrating that learning is a lifelong process that occurs through relationships rather than formal education alone. Maury's final course, taught from his living rooms as he faces death, become more valuable than any academic subject. Forgiveness and redemption. Forgiveness emerges as a crucial theme throughout the narrative, both in terms of forgiving others and forgiving oneself. Maury's ability to forgive his father's emotional absence and his own past mistakes demonstrates the liberating power of letting go of resentment and regret. He teaches that holding on to anger and hurt only perpetuates suffering and prevents personal growth. Okay, so this is the end of the themes. The most important thing in life is to learn how to give out love and let it come in. Maury Schwartz. Okay, so let's move on to our next slide, which is going to be our character analysis. So before our character analysis, I will tell you about all the character that is included in the book. Firstly, it's our Maury Schwartz, Mitch Albums, Charlotte Schwartz, and supporting characters are Connie, Ted Koppel, Maury Sons, Janai, which is Mitch's wife. In here, I will only talk about the main character, Maury Schwartz, Mitch Album, and his Maury's wife, Charlotte Schwartz. Okay. For Maury Schwartz emerges as one of the literature's most compelling and inspirational characters, embodying wisdom, courage, and unconditional love in the face of terminal illness. As a sociology professor at Brandeis University, Maury dedicated his career to understanding human behavior and social dynamics, knowledge that serves him well as he navigates his final months with ALS. Mitch Albom serves as the both narrator and protagonist, representing the modern society, a modern professional who has achieved external success while experiencing internal emptiness. At the beginning of the narrative, Mitch embodies many of the values that Maury critiques. He is driven by career advancement, financial success, and social status, often at the expense of meaningful relationships and personal fulfillment. Charlotte Schwartz. Charlotte, Maury's wife of 44 years, represents the embodiment of devoted love and partnerships. Though she appears less frequently in the narrative than the main characters, her presence is deeply felt throughout the book. She serves as a model of how to love someone through the most difficult circumstances while maintaining one's own identity and needs. So let's move on to our literary devices. For our literary devices that can be seen throughout the books are metaphor and extended metaphor, symbolism, irony, dialogue and voice, flashback and memory, repetition and motive, juxtaposition and contrast, imagery and sensory details. So let's get over with this. Metaphor. Album employs numerous metaphors throughout the narrative to make abstract concepts more accessible and emotionally resonant. The most prominent extended metaphor is the comparison of life to a dance, where Maury teaches that we must learn to dance with life's challenges rather than fight against them. Another significant metaphor is the classroom setting, where Maury's living room becomes a sacred space of learning and his approaching death becomes a curriculum. This transformed the traditional academic environment into something more intimate and profound, suggesting that life's most important lessons occur outside formal educational institutions. Symbolism. The book is rich with symbolism elements that deepen its thematic content. His biscuits plant on Maury's window's sill serves as a powerful symbol of life's fragility and beauty. As Maury's condition deteriorates, the plant's changing condition mirror his physical decline, while its continued blooming represent the persistence of the beauty and hope even in difficult circumstances. Irony. Album employs both situational and dramatic irony to highlight the book's central themes. The most prominent example of situational irony is the Maury who is dying teaches Mitch how to live, while Mitch, who is physically healthy, is spiritually dying. This reversal of expected role emphasizes the difference between physical and spiritual vitality. Another layer of irony exists in the contrast between society's values and Maury's teachings. While the world celebrates youth, strength, and independence, Maury finds meaning in aging, vulnerability, and independence, suggesting that conventional wisdom may be fundamentally flawed. Dialogue and voice. The book's power largely derives from Alvin's skillful use of dialogue to reveal characters and advance themes. Maury's voice is distinctive, warm, philosophical, and often tinged with humor even when discussing with serious topics. His speech patterns reflect his background as a professor while maintaining an accessible conversational tone. Flashback and memory. Album uses flashbacks strategically to provide context for present-day narrative to show how past experiences shape current understanding. The memories of Mitch College's years with Maury serve a baseline against which to measure both characters' growth and change. Repetitions and motive. Several phrases and concepts are repeated throughout the books, creating motifs and reinforce central themes. The phrase, Tuesday with Maury, becomes a refrain that structures the narrative and emphasizes the ritualistic nature of the meeting. Juxtaposition and contrast. Album frequently use juxtaposition to highlight differences between competing worldviews and values. The most obvious contrast is between Mitch's fast-paced, success-driven lifestyle and Maury's contemplative, relationship-focused approach to living. And there are also juxtaposition here, which are physical and spiritual strength, youth and age, noise and silence. Okay, imagery and sensory details. Album uses vivid imagery to make abstract concept concrete and to create emotional connection with readers. His description of Maury physical declines are detailed but respectful, helping readers understand the reality of ALS while maintaining moral dignity. The type of imagery that we can see throughout the books are visual imagery, auditory imagery, and tactile imagery. Okay, so our structure and style of the books. The structure and style are narrative structure, writing style and tone, and point of view and perspective, use of dialogue, pacing and rhythm, genre and literary classifications. Narrative structure. Tuesday with Maury employs a cyclical narrative structure that mirrors the weekly rhythm of Mitch visits to Maury. This structure creates a sense of ritual and anticipation, with each Tuesday representing both progression toward Maury's death and depending of their relationship. The book is organized into short chapters, each focusing on a specific lessons or themes, making the complex philosophical content accessible to readers. Writing style and tone. Album's writing style is characterized by its accessibility, emotional honesty, and conversational tone. He avoids academic jargon or overly complex philosophical language, instead, presenting profound ideas in simple, clear prose to resonate with a broad audience. The stylistic choice reflects Maury's own teaching philosophy that wisdom should be shared in the ways that everyone can understand and apply. Point of view and perspective. The book is written from Mitch's first person perspective, which serves multiple important functions. This point of view allows readers to experience his transformation alongside him, creating identification and emotional investment in his journey. The first person narration also emphasized the personal natures of the story and the subjective impact of Maury's teachings. How, However, Album skillfully balances his own perspective with extensive, direct quotations of Maury's word, allowing the professor's voice and wisdom to come through carefully. This technique prevents the narrative from becoming too self-focused while maintaining the personal framework that gives the story its emotional power. Use of dialogue. Dialogue serves as the primary vehicle for conveying the book's philosophical content and developing character relationships. More albums' reproductions of conversations feels natural and authentic, capturing the rhythms of speech while maintaining clarity and focus. The dialogue reveals personality advancement themes and create emotional connection between characters and readers. Pacing and rhythm. The book's pacing reflects the natural rhythm of Maury's declining health and the deepening of its relationship with Mitch. Early chapters move relatively quickly, establishing their situation and beginning their renewed connection. As Maury's condition worsens, the pacing slows, allowing for more detailed exploration of complex themes and emotions. Genre and literary classification. Tuesday with Morrie occupies a unique position in contemporary literature, blending elements of memoir, biography, philosophy, and self-help writing. This genre blending approach contributes to a book's broad appeal and accessibility, allowing it to reach audiences who might not typically read philosophical or academic works. So this is the finish of the structure and style. So let's go for the cultural impact of the book. Okay, for our cultural impact and significance, we have publishing success and receptions, educational therapeutic applications, media adaptation and extension, social and cultural influence, literary and philosophical legacy, contemporary relevance, and these are all the impact of the book. So let's end this video with one last quote of Maury Schwartz. The most important thing in life is to learn how to give out love and to let it come in. Maury Schwartz. Thank you. So this is the end of my video assignment.